Kevin Cram. When I speak his name, what comes to mind is family, honor, integrity, hardworking, officer. Call, and he had just stopped into the police department, just going to grab something quick. And I remember looking at him, and I could tell he'd been out working on the farm. He was a hardworking guy. And I remember walking by, just saying hi, and I just remember saying, geez, looks like he's maybe been in a hog barn or a cattle barn or something. And as I walked by, I was able to confirm that with the smell, that he was a hardworking and he was outside. We passed by with just that high. I grew up on a farm, so I didn't think much of it. Kevin didn't care much about his looks. He cared about a life of service. That was instilled into him. His father has been on EMS most of his life. Kevin's wife, brother in law enforcement. Service to communities is just what they do. In these past few days, telling stories and hearing stories, almost every story about Kevin was talking about him always giving. He always gave and barely ever receiving anything. That's who Kevin Cram was, a great man. There is a saying that what defines a person. What defines a person's action is when, not what they're looking, it's when no one's looking. I believe that was written on behalf of Kevin Cram, because no matter what he was doing, it was always for good. Kevin Cram was an officer. When he received a call at work, no one ever had to worry about it. You knew he was going to handle that with compassion, and he was going to handle it with professionalism every time. He took so much pride in his work. He was always there to help the next officer. He was always there to help me. If I needed something done and I asked Kevin, or if I said to anybody, hey, can I get a little help? He would be the first person to say, yeah, I'll handle it. And I knew I never had to worry about that again, because I knew it would be done and done well. Kevin Cram cared so much for his family. He loved bringing his kids fishing, hunting, and just doing anything he could do to be outside with them. Farming, working on tractors with his family. Kevin had a passion for guns, old and new. And man, he was proud of his chickens. I'll never forget Kevin telling me the story one day about these Iowa blue chickens. And I remember the story, and I went through my text messages the other day, and I found it about 3 years ago. And he was telling me how great these chickens were. So I decided I got to go back and find this article. So he sent me multiple articles on it. I laughed about it, and I didn't read them. I just moved on because that was Kevin. Well, last night I read those articles. They are pretty great chickens. And when Kevin loved something, there was no questioning that love. I keep wanting to tell Laura and their family, I am sorry, over and over again, hoping I can change something. But what I need to tell them is I've realized I need to tell you thank you. Thank you for raising a hardworking family man. Thank you for raising a man with integrity. And thank you for raising a man of service. And thank you for raising a brother. There has not been one police officer here in Algona, Kossuth County, in the state of Iowa, or even in this nation, that hasn't questioned, why do we do this job? And is it worth it? And it is at times like this that make us want to question that thought even more. There have been so many conversations that we have all had and have been happening around this country every day, talking about how right now is the worst time to be in law enforcement. I do not believe that to be true. Right now is the most important time in law enforcement in this country. Law enforcement must stand hand in hand and be stronger now more than ever. We as law enforcement must hold the line. We must continue to be that beacon of light. I've had so many people reach out to me in the last week, and then there's so many things that I have said, but one thing seems to be over and over again. This has been so tough on the family. This has been so tough on the law enforcement community. And this has been so tough on our community. I've also talked a lot about a lot of personal worst for me this last week. A lot of worst moments of my life. When Kevin Cram was brought home the other day from Ankeny, that was one of the worst. And I have looked back at that drive and thought about it, but it's also one of the greatest moments I hope no human ever has to be a part of. We know a large percentage of Iowa backs us up. Unfortunately, most times a small percent is what is heard. That trip bringing Kevin home, that was heard by a large percentage of all Iowans and this country. I say this to all law enforcement. The majority is why we get up every day, and that is why we put our badge on every single day. I had a good friend text me, "You need to stay strong." My message back to him was short, "I don't know how to." His response back, "One breath and one step at a time." So that's what I'm going to do when I don't believe I'm strong enough. And I hope you guys do as well. The other day, Laura was in my office. She'd been sitting in there chatting with me for a while. And she'd gotten up. I knew she was getting ready to leave. And I told her, "I know I'm speaking here today. Is there anything you would like me to talk about?" And she said, "I'll let you just choose." And she goes, "And if you want to talk about eating possums, that is fine." I just remember her saying that, and she talked about some other stuff, and I don't remember a thing you said after that. Because all I could think about is, have all these years Kevin been telling us the truth? Is he really doing this? And so I got a couple stories about Kevin. Kevin would always talk to us about these varmints that he would eat. And it was an ongoing joke that he started himself. And just all of them, it didn't matter what it was. And all of us in rural Iowa, we've all gotten that call from dispatch. Algona officers, there's a dead animal on the road that needs to be removed. We've all got that call. Kevin would always, "I'll take it, I'll take care of it." I never asked Kevin what "I'll take care of it" meant. One conversation that was heard this week was an officer talking about, again, we're going to talk about possums, and he said, "Yeah, I was talking about possums with Kevin, and he sent me a recipe for possum pie or something." And that got me thinking, this is a long time ago, with these jokes with him, he sent me, or I was on a call, and I sent him a picture of a raccoon that was deceased on the side of the road. And I just remember sending him a picture and saying, "Hey, do you want this?" And I swear to you, it was less than 5 seconds. And I had a message back for raccoon stew. And I just remember, like, there is no way he had time to look that up. That had to be saved on his phone. It was incredible. In the law enforcement world, we all know when you bring food to work, and if there's no name on that food is free game for anybody in your department. Sometimes even if there is a name on it, it might still disappear. Kevin brought his food to work quite often. Kevin was the police department's exception. If you saw Tupperware that said Cram on it, you did not eat that. You had no idea if that was some sort of mystery meat. And no officer was willing to take that risk. I can tell you this, I never ever watched him eat a varmint, and I always really thought it was a joke. But now I wonder, was Kevin doing this because he just knew by saying all this, no one would ever eat his food? And if that's the case, well played. Kevin, well played. Yesterday morning, I was out running my dog, like I do every morning. I drove by a farm place that raised cattle. I could smell the cattle right away. It reminded me of the first time I ever walked by Kevin. I smiled. I got pretty emotional by myself. I never thought that shit would make me cry. To end, I would like to read you a letter. This letter came from a girl that stopped by my house. She was 9 years old. This letter helped me realize how much Kevin's death is affecting everyone of all ages. This letter reads, Dear Bo, but I'm going to read this today as Dear Everyone, because this is how we feel. Dear everyone, I know you're probably feeling a little down, like so many other people. But you should know, Kevin will always be remembered and loved forever. His mighty deed kept many, many people safe. He will always be known as a hero.